3 reasons you are unable to stick to no contact with your ex and what you need. Now, it is so difficult when you are healing from someone that you still feel madly in love with. It goes against every normal fibre in your body to cut contact and stick to it. When you're going through that breakup, you want to be nearer to that person than you've ever been. You want to know what they're doing, where they are, what they're thinking, how they feel about you. We're looking for all the validation from this person because the brain is telling you that's the only thing that's going to bring you out of how you're feeling. And logically, usually we know deep down, we really do need to cut that contact because without doing it for whatever reason, whatever type of breakup you've been through, you can't fully process, you can't fully grieve, and therefore you can't fully get to a point where you're back in control of your emotions and you actually feel human again. But too many clients when they come to me have been going round the same roundabout 400 times, taking the same exit 400 times and ending up back on the roundabout, which is draining you psychologically. So number 1, you are not working on healing the wounds that your brain is telling you this person is the plaster for, or the band-aid. For example, if I have a client that has a huge fear of being alone, if that client is not working on healing that fear, changing that conditioned belief that the brain has created that is hell to be alone, then that person's brain is going to consistently say, well, the way to fix it, get in contact with your ex, put the plaster on it. But plasters don't last forever. Paracetamol doesn't kill infections. At some point we have to rip that plaster off. We need to look at the wound or wounds that we're facing and we need to find the right antibiotic for each of these wounds, the right treatment plan for each of these wounds. Your brain is not going to tell you to do that because that feels unfamiliar, it feels unsafe, and therefore it feels scary. So that is an active choice. Your brain is going to tell you, whack the plaster on it, we'll deal with it another day. The issue with that is that plaster isn't healthy for you perhaps. You're not in a relationship with that plaster anymore. So at some point we need to rip those plasters off and we need to deal with the wounds underneath. Number 2, you are not working on acceptance. Now, I say to all of my clients, acceptance is a layered process. It isn't a switch or a button that we suddenly push and poof, acceptance has happened. However, when a client cannot stay away from their ex, there is usually parts of the relationship, the breakup, or the ex that they are not accepting. Truths that they are not accepting, they're not looking in the eyes, they're not facing. And is this normal? Of course. 9 times out of 10, when a person can't stay away from their ex, it's because they're wearing the rose-tinted glasses. They're looking at all the positives of this person, no matter how infrequent or small they may be. Why on earth are you going to be able to stick to no contact if you are only looking at 1/2, 1/3, 1/10 of this person or relationship or breakup? You're not. There comes a point where we have to start to look at the facts. We have to start accepting what is real, whether that is comfortable or not, whether that is nice or not, whether that is what we want it to be or what we wanted it to be or not. Acceptance is your best friend. It doesn't mean you have to hate a person. It doesn't mean you have to villainize them. But what it does mean is that you're healing from what's actually in front of you. Healing from what you want it to be is not real healing. Healing from what you wish it was is not real healing. We have to heal from what it actually is. And that means creating a ton of acceptance and learning the tools for acceptance so that it doesn't need to feel incredibly painful. And you can actually cut contact with your ex and focus on your life without this person wreaking havoc in your brain 24/7. Number 3, you could well be trauma bonded. If this relationship was particularly traumatic, abusive, narcissistic, etc., it is likely that there could be a trauma bond in there. And if there is a trauma bond in there, you are going to find it near on impossible with willpower alone to cut contact and stay no contact. Ultimately, chemically, your brain has been altered. And until we take it back to a healthy chemical brain and psychology, you are going to keep feeling like you need this person. That trauma bond is going to yank and you are going to go with it, whether you want to or not. Now, if there's a trauma bond, you will need a psychological map. Just distracting yourself or hoping this is going to disappear is not how it's going to work. But when you do have the psychological map, you will actually be surprised how much easier it is. And that is when a client will come on a session with me and say, oh my God, it's been over a week. I only thought of them 2 days this week. And actually, they weren't thoughts that I wanted them. They were more memories. I'm now processing what I've actually been through rather than feeling like I'm going to die if I do not reach out to this person.